This is my 1989 Ford Mustang that I'm working on. I'm finishing the paint job on it. As you can see, I've already done some of the work to it. One of the things I want to note, I just took the wing off and you can see all the nasty stuff that's up underneath the wing. So I think when I put it back on, I might do something I'll regret, which is use a body sealer or RTV or something to block that off. Because the last thing I want to do is go through and paint everything nice and have this nasty crud. You can see rust and everything up in there. So I've already done some of my painting. I got the taillight panel painted. I just need to do the top of the bumper. One of the things I did when I had this all apart, I had my quarters out. I took all the factory sound deadener out and went back with this stuff called lizard skin, and I coated everything with it to save a little bit of weight, and it ends up it's about the same sound deadening as all that pounds of stuff that I took out of the car. So on the interior, I actually repainted these quarters, which are new to this car. Mine were completely rotted out. I did the Sim blue mist on there so it looks like a good steel blue. I did that throughout the interior. I did my door panels like that. I went with a little bit lighter color, more of a ballistic material on the inserts. As you can see, I've done the rear seat delete. Whenever I get to that portion of the car, I'll probably maintain the same theme and do a nice little cubby hole storage compartments where the rear seats were. So taillights, actually got a good deal on those, buying new from the junkyard, and got those. It's a nice setup right there. So this is where I'm at on it. So thanks for watching. The light body filter's on, and I got it blocked down. So I did a guide coat, this time with a fast dry paint. Last time I just grabbed something off the shelf that'd work, and it was not a fast dry paint. So this will speed it up. I'm looking for all my sander marks, which if I can get a good angle here, since I did knock this down and shape it with 80 grit, you can still see the 80 grit marks in it. So I'll need to come back and try to knock all that down. But that'll give me a good idea where I'm at and if I made it better or worse. This is coat 2 of the lightweight body filter. So after blocking this down and sanding it, the highs and lows are definitely filled in and more normalized. So still got a little bit of a high right there, but I think this is livable compared to what it was before. We'll find out once I get some primer on here and maybe even after the satin black. I am a little concerned about the trunk lock area there. I probably should have pulled that out and back taped it to get in there real good. So we'll find out. That's something that I can always come back and just kind of do a finish up work later after I'm done. I'm doing some custom striping and painting on my Mustang. I'm doing the insets. I've already painted it the color I want it, so I'm just going to mask it off and then come back and do the satin black over top of it. That way these really pop. So one of the techniques I'm using is I got the wider tape going across there, and I take the paint paddle and just kind of shove in all those corners before I cut it out. That way it's good and sealed up in there, and I'm getting to the corners like that. You see what I've done on the M and cut that out. And it's not perfect, but I'm not perfect either, so it'll look good once I'm done with it. I'm doing some more taping on the Mustang. I wanted to show actually my process on the last one. I thought about doing this on the last G. So I have the tape lightly on there, and I'm just going to come through and lightly press in. So this spot right here, there's a lot of tension, so I'm going to have to cut it and then come back and press it in, same around there. So I have to take, once I got it pressed in half decent, take the razor blade and go around there. Then I can press it in a little further. So this will be a little tricky trying to film this and do it at the same time. So that should give an idea how it can now press in there a little better. Once I do that all the way around, it will press in good and flat and I can pull the tape off. This is what the G looks like after I took the razor blade and traced all the edges so that the tape can actually set in the inset, and I got it pressed down real good. As you can see over here on this spot right here, I'll have to come back and trim that up just a little more. Then once it's all said and done, I have everything painted and I go to pull all this tape off. I just hope that the paint that I laid down there a couple days ago is cured up and bonded good enough so it doesn't peel off with the tape. But hey, good practice, right? I'm starting to do the paint prep. I've already sanded everything down, and what I like to do is take some soapy water and an old dish rag and just wipe everything down real good before I start painting. That'll get all the dust and stuff off. So just for instance, this rag I use with paint thinner, that's all I got out of doing my little pillar there and about half of the roof, and it was pretty dirty. So that's how clean you can get it with something cheap like soap and water. I just use dish soap and have a little bucket and just dip it in there and just keep wiping it down. You don't have to go too crazy with it, just a good wipe down and it'll do good. So that'll save from using whatever rags you like to use and paint thinner, and ultimately when you get the expensive stuff like what I use, the super prep, that'll help out. I have my paint supplies out. I'm just about ready to paint. I have a couple more things to do, which is use a tack rag to tack it down right before I spray. I just want to go over the equipment that I'm using to do this. So I use paint thinner a lot for my secondary wipe down. Also use it to clean all my paint equipment as well. So I have my paint thinner out. I have a filter. That's really important. I'll talk about that in a minute. I got a cleaning bucket. I'm using the Van Sickle primer to go over that. I'm still learning how to do this, so at $30 a gallon, it's a lot easier on the wallet whenever I mess up. So this is the first time I've used this paint can, so I have the little drill attachment to make sure it's all stirred up. One thing I found is I usually don't mix a lot of paint. You can see my little bucket that's pretty much used up. Instead of trying to pour into that little bucket and get paint all the way down the side of the can and waste more paint than I'm trying to put in a bucket, I just use the ladle. I just dip it down in there and pour it in, and then measured out the exact amount I need. Got my stir stick. I already have my cleaning supplies out for the paint gun, gloves, which is important. I don't have my mask out on the table. I didn't have enough room for that. Then I got the paint gun. I'm just using one of the Harbor Freight Professional Series. I think I paid $30 or something for that in a small gun. Also have the water, the moisture trap that I'm going to be using on the gun as well. So one reason a filter is important once you get everything mixed up and you go to put it in the gun is if you don't and you have bits of paint, it'll clog the gun and just spit chunks out, and it's not fun. That'll just ruin your day right there. So the last thing I want to cover is this is the super prep that I use for my final prep before doing a tack rag. This is good on plastic as well. So I got a lot of plastic pieces on this Mustang. So it helps out a lot. That stuff, it'll just take off all kinds of stuff. Nothing but good to say about that one. But as you can see, it's a little pricey, so that's why I use soapy water and paint thinner to get it as clean as I can before I finally go over that.